Alright, today class I'm going to talk to you about the carbide lamp. It was part of one of the inventions that came about because of the second industrial revolution. Now earlier we had talked what inventions came about with the first industrial revolution, but this really was part of the second one. In 1992, Thomas Wilson created a more efficient way of creating calcium carbide, which produces acetylene gas and is lighted on fire to be able to produce a flame. He sold this patent to Union Carbide, and it wasn't until Frederick Baldwin in the early 1900s patented the first carbide lamp. This lamp would be used all the way up until the 1950s. In 1932, McCowan coal mine disaster killed 54 miners, and that's when they really started to decide that this wasn't the most efficient way to light coal mines. It was also used in houses. They would create these big vats and put the calcium carbide in, and it had a stream of water that would drip water on the calcium carbide, creating this gas, and it would light all the houses. The problem with this is it's very combustible, so any kind of other gases that mixture with it or open flame or any kind of leaks, and it would explode. Even the first Model Ts used calcium carbide lamps, and all street lamps were lit by calcium carbide lamps.
Alright, now I want to go through the components of what this lamp is and how it produces a light so that it can be lighted up in coal mines and houses and light street lamps. The first thing is you have to remember is one of the best advantages during the Industrial Revolution was this idea of interchangeable parts. So not one particular the unit is created in several different parts, and that way if one part breaks you can change it with a new part. Take for instance this tip, which the actual flame is shot through. If this tip goes bad, I can just replace it instead of buying a whole new lamp. And this really revolutionized the way, not only in items like this, but like in firearms, which was huge. So I'm going to kind of unscrew this and kind of show you guys what this is all about. The first thing is you have a tip and you have a tip holder. This actually is, the flame is actually shot through here. And if you can see right here, this is where the water kind of goes down this water chamber up here at the top. It drips, the water drips down into this chamber where the calcium carbide is, and when water reacts with calcium carbide it creates acetylene gas, and then the gas is lit by this striker here, and that produces a flame that you can use. If you see here, here's the water door where the water is put in, and this right here is the back part. This can be either put on a cloth helmet or especially in the 1950s they were using plastic or metal helmets that they would clip their lamps onto. So I'm going to go ahead and fill this chamber up. In my hands you see the calcium carbide. It looks like little pieces of gravel. So I'm going to fill it up here in the chamber. And one of the most important things to remember is when you're filling this up, you only fill it about 3/4 of the way full. If not, it'll expand and it'll actually make your light inoperable. The next thing I want to do is go ahead and screw this on until I got a nice good seal, because between here and the bottom chamber is a gasket, and that stops any kind of leaks. Now if you do have a leak and any kind of flame gets near it, it'll light it on fire and your whole lamp will start burning, which I've had happen plenty of times to me. After miners threw this lamp away, it was adopted by cavers, and cavers continue to use this in caves. The next thing I'm going to do is put water in it. I'm going to fill it all the way up to the top. Without overfilling. Alright class, I've zoomed in and I've turned out the lights so we can see this thing in action. So what I'm first going to do is I'm going to check and smell and make sure that the acetylene gas is coming out of my tip. And this is called a reflector. It's a 4-inch reflector, and this is my striker. So the first thing I'm going to do is place my hands over the reflector to trap that acetylene gas, and then I'm going to strike it, producing a flame. And as you can see here, I got a nice long flame, and it's also that reflector is reflecting off of there and producing light that is projected anywhere that my head turns. So this lamp, like I said before, was the miners discontinued its use, but cavers would go and they are still using it today. It's a really good heat source. If you become cold in a cave, they'll put a plastic bag over you to produce, that way you can warm yourselves up. And